Welcome everybody down to the Matcave for this surprise live stream here on a Monday night. We're doing something a little bit different tonight here, and I'm not alone. I'm going to bring in my guest here tonight, which actually this idea was actually his, and I love this idea. So I'm going to bring him in, and we're going to talk a little bit to you guys tonight about what it's like to be on YouTube. Everybody, let me introduce you to SpideyLibrarian.
Hey, everybody.
Hello there.
How goes it?
It goes. I'm going to switch sides here so it looks like I'm actually facing you.
Works for me. It's all good.
So, the other day, a little more than the other day, you came to me with an idea, talking about, what if we got together kind of like a meeting of the minds and talk about what it's like to be not just on YouTube, but to be small YouTubers and what is it that we enjoy about it? What are the struggles that we face? Things like that. And then we kind of just at the spur of the moment, we decided to do it live and share it with the world.
Yeah. This kind of came about because I've been, I guess you could say, seriously on YouTube for about, I don't know, a year and a half, maybe.
Okay.
I think it was in July of 2021 that I was like, I'm going to start trying to post regularly to my channel. And then, and then I just kind of, I think I was on Twitch at the time, and then I left and just kind of did YouTube. I do my streaming on YouTube now, and it's all great. But I just kind of, I have my up times and my down times. Sometimes it's really hard to get through and kind of keep motivated and everything. And I was like, it's really nice when I can have someone to talk to. And so I was, you were the first person I thought of, and I think that I think there's a pretty good reason for that. It's because we're both similar size, and we definitely have different kind of topics that we are interested in and tackle, but there's enough kind of tenuous, I don't even know if a crossover is the world, but
almost a web, if you will.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how that works, And so that's why I approached you about this. I'm like, hey, Matcave, do we want to, we like to do kind of a regular thing where we just meet and just talk about our channels, talk about what we do on YouTube, and just kind of, pep each other up, keep each other motivated and everything, and then literally maybe half an hour ago, you're like, should we do this live? And I'm like, I'm not prepared, but I will be next time.
Yes. And next time we'll 100% we'll bring it over to your channel. I know this all kind of came out of nowhere.
Well,
and
you've got the fancy StreamYard thing. I have to admit, it's pretty nice. I kind of came in here and I'm like, wow, it was really easy. I didn't have any weird setup things to do. It was,
StreamYard is very user friendly, and it's something that I actually have motivated other YouTubers to use it.
Mm-hmm.
For specifically for things like this, for having conversations and discussion type panels, things because I primarily, being a gaming channel, I'll live stream through Streamlabs, and I have the game running through there and all this stuff.
Right.
And they've even added ways to bring in guests on there now, but that's very recent. But it's still not quite as user-friendly and as easy as this platform. And StreamYard is a channel that they have their own YouTube channel where they bring in other creators to help show people how to do this stuff. And I watch them on a fairly regular basis. I set up a whole kind of a content creator corner on my Discord to share these things. And so that's literally I sent you a link on Discord, and you clicked it and you popped in, and I hit a button, and you're here.
I had to make one or two tiny adjustments on my end, because I think initially it had a different web camera selected, and I'm like, no, I want the good camera.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a little setup to it. Yep.
Yeah, but it, like I was very impressed with just how simple it was, which is like, wow, this is really, really nice. And it might be it might be one of those things that I look into, especially if if we continue doing something like this. So I think it could be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And there's a free version of it. That's where I started with it. I eventually upgraded for the sake of changing resolutions and being able to put my own like backgrounds and stuff like that. Like there's certain things you can do with the free version, and then there's benefits to upgrading. So it all depends on how you're going to use it. But it's definitely a great way for content creators to come together. And to have, earlier tonight, I was on with the Star Wars obsession, and there was a whole panel, and there was like 5 or 6 of us on there, and we're just, talking Star Wars and theories and all kinds of stuff like that, all on the platform.
I like
so
it.
It's kind of funny when you talked about doing this. This was the only thing I had in my head.
Yeah, I was originally thinking just like a private Discord like video chat between us. And then you were like, well, we could go, we could stream this. And I'm like, we could. This could be like a cooperative podcast, video podcast that we started or something, We've got we've got the tools, we've got the talent, as Winston Zedmore would
exactly
say,
Might as well use it.
Ghostbusters reference for anyone. I'm sure anyone who's hearing that. So.
I'm sure everybody in the audience got that reference. Got it. With channels like ours, there's going to be Ghostbusters references.
I think, and I'll probably talk about this at length later, but this is just a little bit of trivia. But and someone recently just confirmed it for me. But for a long time, when I started. When I was like, okay, I'm going to try to be serious about YouTube. The first things that I was doing was basically like reactions to trailers, because that's pretty easy to do.
Yeah.
And I was obsessed with Ghostbusters Afterlife. And nice. So and like I mean, I'm pretty sure you and I already talked about it. You know how I responded towards the end of the movie and everything. Yeah. But I did a reaction to the trailer where, like, at the very closing seconds of the trailer, you hear Ray Stantz speaking for the first time. And I don't know exactly what it was about that video, but I think for a long time that was my most viewed video on my channel. And my channel is not about Ghostbusters. It's, I want it to be about Marvel and Spider-Man and maybe Marvel video games and stuff like that. And no, like for the longest time, it was just like, your reaction. So yeah, no, I love me some Ghostbusters. So.
It's so funny though that you had that experience, because I had the same exact experience. I do gaming, but I decided one day to react to the Netflix Masters of the Universe trailer.
Oh, okay.
And that video took off.
That caught on.
Like, what? That's so funny. And I, even to this day, I can't explain it. I have no idea why. If I were to bring up my views right now, they're still going.
Uh-huh.
I have a little short that's been on my channel for, it's got to be coming up on 2 years at this point, where all I did was pan the camera across my DVD collection of Smallville and had the song and just asked, what are your favorite Smallville moments? And the title was, would you play a Smallville video game? It's just a short.
Okay.
Consistently, every single day, hundreds of views. It just goes.
Did you get lots of comments on it too?
I get a bunch of comments on it, and I've actually, I learned this from people like who host things on StreamYard, and I've learned from vidIQ and trying to get some hints and stuff like that. Now, like when you have something like that, you can use it somewhat of like an anchor So what I'll do is every once in a while, I jump over to that short and I change the pinned comment to reference another video, and maybe put something in the description. If you like this, try this video, and I'll link one of my more recent something.
Nice.
And it seems to work pretty well, but for the life of me, I can't figure out why that short is so successful.
Right? Yeah, no, it's weird how that kind of thing works, and it's just like, YouTube, and I would imagine this is true of social media in general. It's just a very serendipitous kind of thing. You never know what is going to take off. You can put lots of work into a video. I've done this. I put lots of work into editing and creating a video. I'm like, oh, this is great, this is a masterpiece, and it hardly gets any attention, which is fine. You have to really, in order to be a YouTuber, you really have to enjoy the process of creating videos and editing, especially because at first you're not going to be able to outsource it. You got to do everything,
Oh yeah. That's the key, is you got to be able to have fun with it. And that's the biggest thing for me, is that I have fun with this. And a lot of people have told me, even on, a lot of the channels that I'll go to for guidance and things like that, they talk about having a niche and having a specific thing. Like gaming channels in particular are rough in this space because it's just so oversaturated. So like, you got to pick a game and stick to it. But I'm like,
I can't do
but
that.
I'm not in the mood to play one game all the time.
Right.
My mood changes. And I'm like, I want to just kind of have people along for the ride and join me for it, So if I'm in the mood to play Maximum Carnage, I want to hang out and have somebody, I try to mimic and make an environment where it's almost like it's couch co-op. Like, we're just chilling, we're hanging out, we're playing this game together for however long, and then whatever we're gonna play the next time, it's
and I love that concept. I think that's great. Actually, you mentioned Maximum Carnage, and did you read the comics?
I did not.
Oh, okay.
I never actually got my hands on them.
I read those comics as they were coming out. I was a teenager at the time. They were like, it was just this big, huge Spider-Man crossover. It had like Cloak and Dagger and Captain America and Morbius and Firestar and Iron Fist and like all these, Carnage was just causing chaos, and so like you guys had to all band together, and it was really good. Funny thing is that I think part 1 and I think part 14, because it was a 14-part crossover.
Wow.
It involved a bunch of Spider-Man titles, because he had like 4 titles a month out at that point in time.
Okay.
And that that first and last part are they were in another Spider-Man comic series that was called Spider-Man Unlimited.
Okay.
That name has been used in Spider-Man mythology now for video games, for TV shows. So Spider-Man Unlimited, Volume 1, Issue 1 was Maximum Carnage Part 1. Issue 2 was Maximum Carnage Part 14. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I recently, like, if you go and check my most recent updated video, it's actually a YouTube short. And it is a 1-minute digest of a story from Spider-Man Unlimited Volume 1, Issue 3, called An Obituary for Octopus. And I'm reading that, and I was struck by it because it was like an emotional gut punch. I was like, oh, ow, dang, I feel really sorry for Doc Ock now. Like that, as far as I can tell, is one of the first, if not the first story where Ock was ever written as like a tragic villain, where they actually gave him some depth and everything. And so I was just like, wow. And I was so struck by that story. And I know I'd read it before, but like it had been 30 years or something. And so I made that short and put it up. And I was just like, this is going to be the first in a series of YouTube shorts that I do that I'm just going to informally call Spidey, TDL or TLDR. There we go. Where I take 60 seconds and I give you the basic plot of a story and a very quick like reaction to it, and then I move on to something else. You know.
Yeah. And,
So,
you know, the YouTube space is eating up the short form content right now. Like it's what I've noticed too, it's not just making shorts, because I've actually kind of stopped making actual shorts.
okay.
I've just been making shorter long form.
Right. Like
And
3-minute videos or
yeah,
something.
and those have been doing pretty well. And I think that might be one of the methods that I kind of stick to with it, because it's all, you're kind of playing a game here.
Yeah.
I got to bring this up because, you know, when you're on YouTube, you start to gain, you know, a following, you gain fans of your channel. And if there was ever a positively aggressive fan, it's X-Wing of my channel. He gets so angry that I'm not bigger. And I love him for it. I absolutely love him for it.
I just brought up the YouTube page for this stream because
Nice.
I can see some of the chats but not all of them. So wow, hello to a lot of people.
We got a bunch of people. We got a dozen people already so far. That's awesome.
Really? That's oh my God. Okay, well, hello to everybody. I'm just gonna go ahead and we got a dozen people. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna throw out a dozen thank you thwips. Hold on a second. There you go.
Love it.
Mini thwip train. So
There you go. See, and that's one of the things I love about your channel, the way you interact with the audience. Because it was so funny. I first found your channel not through a Spider-Man or Marvel thing. I was up one night and I was interested in the new Metroid Dread. And just on the homepage, there was your channel with the little live. And I was like, well, let me check it out. And then you and I, we just kind of started chatting while you're playing and everything.
Yeah.
And
I remember that was pretty awesome. I want to say that was like, feels like it was like October of 21, something like that.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
It was right around when, because Metroid Dread wasn't out quite yet. I was still playing Super Metroid. And yeah,
Yep.
I think you were with me on stream when I finally completed it.
I think so. Yeah, I think I was there for that one.
That was the first time I'd ever completed Super Metroid, and it was it was anxiety inducing.
Dude, these old games are no joke. I mean, what I, put myself through to to bring these games to an audience sometimes.
I know, right?
It's and I've I've got even more coming because I recently set up with that Video Games Monthly service, and now every month I'm going to get basically a mystery box of retro games that I'm going to stream. Now, and
are they like game cartridges or?
I got it. Hold on.
Yeah, no, I wanna. I don't know about this. I want to see.
It's already open, but they sent me a box.
Oh, nice.
Video Games Monthly.
Okay.
And then inside, there's some games. Like there's Tron on the Wii.
Oh my God.
Sealed, by the way. They gave me Tony Hawk Pro Skater for PS1. They gave me a Game Boy Advance game. They gave me some PS2 titles.
I hope you can get a brand deal with them. Oh,
I'm loving their company so much already. They've been great in communication via email and stuff. And this was literally my first box. And I'm like, this is what I want to do. It's like a new thing for my channel. So this is, again, being on YouTube, you find things that you kind of work for you. Some things you put a lot of effort in, then it doesn't work. And some things you just did it for fun. I thought, how cool would it be to get a whole bunch of games coming in, but make it a fun thing and get a mystery box? Because I used to do those loot crate things back in the day.
Yeah.
But, there a lot of them that I did went away. But then also I'm like, there's one for retro games. I'm like, are you kidding me? I had to try it. And so we'll see
That's
what we get
awesome.
next month.
That's awesome. And I assume that you're doing like the unboxings on your channel and
Yep.
stuff like that, right?
Yeah, we'll do the monthly unbox. So that's what I want to try to do, is like how I have like way back Wednesdays. I
Mhm.
want to also have the unboxing stream, because I want to do it live with everybody. That's
Yeah.
I like making videos, don't get me wrong. I like making pre-recorded stuff. But my favorite thing is to be here with everybody and just kind of bounce ideas off of everybody and chat, and just whether it's playing a game or just having a conversation.
No,
This is where the fun is.
yeah, that it has a very strong appeal. I agree with you. I didn't even like when I got serious about my YouTube channel, streaming was not really even part of the equation. Like it was, but it wasn't a serious part of the equation. And then people started coming by, you being one of them, but like, I had a fairly small but consistent stream of people who were there and were just like, hey, keep doing what you're doing. We like this. And that alone is kind of like its own, let's just call it a drug. It's like that is so nice when people are just like, dude, we like you for you. We like what you're doing. Keep doing this thing. We'll keep coming back. And that is a wonderful feeling,
Yeah.
and then, then I think in June, I was streaming. I mostly play Marvel Contest of Champions. I'm trying to branch out to other Marvel games, but I was playing Marvel Contest of Champions, and in June, I think I had some time off work, so I was streaming during the day, and I usually stream in the evenings. Well, I guess someone in the UK caught my stream and was a mod on one of the bigger MCOC content creator channels and told him to shout me out, and he did. And suddenly on the live stream, I gained like 50 subscribers in one stream, and I was like, what is happening? And shout out to KT1 for that, because wow, that that was one of those points where I was losing motivation, and then suddenly like one of the bigger guys just gives you a shout out, and it's like, wow, well, this just turned my day around.
Yeah.
Streaming is amazing, and I feel like uploads have their they have their part to play. Streaming has its part to play, and then I think like YouTube Shorts, and also even like YouTube community posts, like
Yes.
if you're really running a channel, you're really running about 4 different channels if you think about the type of content that you're making. But yeah, streaming has become so much bigger to me personally than I thought it ever would be.
Yep. It's, and like you said, it's kind of addicting. It's almost like a drug. Like you get that high from it. You feel good about not only just providing entertainment for people, but interacting with everybody, and you're meeting friends, and you're having like really good conversations, and it really gets super exciting when you have experiences like that, where all of a sudden you just happen to be chatting on a bigger channel, some well-known channel, and they mention you.
Yeah.
That there's something that happens like in your
Because
mind.
they like something that you're doing, or something you did stood out to them for one reason or another, and that's networking, baby.
Yeah. But and you're totally right. It's like when you're running these channels, it's not just one channel, even though it is technically one channel. You're doing all these different things. You mentioned the community tab, and that's an interesting thing, because from the beginning of my channel all the way until it eventually came in, which is very different now than it was, that was my goal. A lot of people, like, they start up the channel like, all right, I got to get to 1,000 subscribers, I got to monetize, I got to do all this. I was like, I'm like, yeah, that's all well and good, and don't get me wrong, I would love that, but I wanted that community tab. I wanted to be able to interact with everybody more, and at the time, you had to have at least 500 subscribers or 500 plus, and then wait for YouTube to kind of give the community tab to you. Like you do something and set it up in the settings, and then you should be able to have it available.
Yeah.
Well, the strange thing that happened was, as I was on my way to 500, and I was so close, I was getting really close, YouTube changed the requirements. In fact, they got rid of the requirements.
Yep.
They just started handing out the community tab to everybody.
Which I mean, honestly, I think that's a good thing at this point. Like I got the community tab, and then a few months later they just gave it out to and like you know, you kind of, you know, it's kind of like you could react to it in one of two ways. You'd be like, well, why are these people getting it? I had to work for it, you know. But really, if I had had the community tab like from the get-go, I know that I would have grown my channel faster and everything. And so I would have been able to engage with my viewers in multiple ways, and I would argue in you know, some posts would be more meaningful than some of my videos. So you know, I responded to it in the way that I think everyone should respond to it, which is good. It's about time. That should have been there. You know.
Yeah. So. Like I'd be lying if I said I didn't have at least a little bit of like a when it just got handed out, because I was like, that 500 mark was the goal. The whole purpose was that community tab, and I was like, oh, I can't, like, that's what I want to celebrate. That's what I want to do. And then like it happens at like 476. It was like, well, all right. It's like,
you can still celebrate it, you know, and
then absolutely.
And then you can celebrate 500. You know, they don't have to be tied together. You know.
But I am very happy that everybody gets to have that, because like you said, it's a way to interact more, and you can grow your channel faster that way. The great thing about community posts, and I realized a lot of people didn't know this, community posts can pop up in the homepage feed because they're posts. Like if you put a poll on the community page, someone who's not subscribed to you can come across that poll.
Oh, see, that I didn't realize.
Yeah. So every once in a while, I'll throw a poll out there that's like not really channel specific, you know, like just something fun, like, you know, Thanksgiving came around. So I just threw a poll up there that was, what do you look forward to more, the meal or the leftover sandwich the day after? Like,
I mean, those sandwiches are pretty good if you make them right. So I did have kind of like a small set of questions, and really, I mean, we've just been having a great conversation, which I'm very pleased about. This, I'm very happy with the kind of vibe and kind of the way that this is going. You know, I feel like this could be a thing that we could do on the regular, and you know, like maybe bring other guests in or something like that too.
Yeah.
But let me go ahead and get to the questions, and I feel like what I'd like to do is I'll ask them. I would like you to respond, and then I'll probably respond to it as well, and we'll move on to the next one. So, awesome. First one is technically 3 parts, but just hear me out.
I'm with you.
How was 2022 for you? What went well, and what were the challenges that you faced in that year?
Oh, that is a good 3-parter right there.
See?
I like that. I'm
smarter than I look, you know?
Right? He's got the smarts over there.
Yeah.
2022, in terms of the YouTube channel, was fantastic. 2022 for me was the most growth in my channel, and it's where I found my channel kind of expanding the most, because I became braver, mostly thanks to the amazing people I've met on this platform. You know, like I literally have like groups that I talk with, you know, on Discord and stuff like that. The Star Wars Obsession, Hawks Holocrons, X-Wing, Echo Base Network. People like, you know, we all kind of share ideas and things like that. So I started to feel a lot more comfortable with my capabilities. So then I just started pushing towards things. Like, even though I was leaving comfort zones, I was like, I'm going to try some new things. And in 2022, I discovered what StreamYard does for content creators, where they bring certain creators on to do live streams of helping creators. And there's a channel, these two guys come on, Nick, is it D. Neiman and Daniel Batal come on.
Okay, I know who D. Neiman is through his brother Nick.
Through his brother Nick, right?
Yeah.
So the second Saturday of every month, they do a live stream on StreamYard where they basically do it like a game show, and they'll do channel reviews. I'm like, oh, this is really cool. And I actually got to have my channel reviewed by them.
Oh, nice.
And it was great because I got ripped apart in the best way. It was all positive, don't get me wrong.
Right. But they were like, okay, this is what you need to improve, like that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I see you chilling. Welcome, dude. Good to see you, my friend. Yeah, this was as Star Wars Obsession says, melted. Yes, I got obliterated on that, but all in the best way, because everything's constructive. Everything was to guide you in the right direction.
Yes.
I was literally taking notes, and then I changed how I make thumbnails. I changed how I write titles. I changed my descriptions, like all these things. So 2022 was the best year for my channel. I had the most growth. And I would say in terms of struggle, it was because I left my comfort zone. And the struggle was, how am I going to do this? How am I going to figure this out? And there's pressure when you do this. I'm sure you've come into cases where you're like, I really want to get this video out and I'm trying to do this, and it's just something is not working the way you expected.
Yes.
Oh, it's just so many things can go wrong, while so many things can go right. But that was definitely the biggest struggle for me, was leaving that comfort zone, because I was like, I kind of had a thing going. I was like, all right, I'm doing the same thing over and over. But I finally decided to be brave and do some other things.
Trying some new stuff out. Yeah, no, that's always a tough one. And I can definitely empathize with you there a little bit. But I don't know, like, I took a look at my analytics for 2022, and in 2022, I gained 318 subscribers.
Nice.
Which is very nearly a subscriber a day, which I'm
like,
wow.
That's awesome.
Like, you keep hearing about these channels that, they'll get like thousands of subscribers a month. Good for them. I'm just kind of worried about how I'm growing, Yeah. And so, if we keep this pace up, then hopefully I'll be able to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year. That's a hope. It's not a goal, though. I have no control over that. So, but overall, 2022, there was a lot to celebrate. I hit 500 subscribers. One of my mods, MRX, who I think is in the chat right now. So
MRX.
She pointed out that we were like this close to I think it was 100,000 channel views total or something. And so, like, because of her vigilance, I was able to keep an eye out for that and everything. I started. I even started occasionally getting tips during the chats, which is which is always like, you want to give me money? What? But you gotta put that stuff out there. But so there was a lot that really, I feel, went well, and I think that was in no small part due to streaming. Some of the challenges this year, keeping motivated is kind of like a seasonal thing, like I have times when I'm really productive on my channel, and then I've got times where it just dips, and it's like, I don't want to make a video, you know, kind of thing. And sometimes you just have to push through that. But I also have been wanting to do more short form content. And like if you take a look at the short that I just recently put out, the Dr. Octopus comic one, that's not the kind of short that I'm talking about.
Mhm.
I'm talking about a short where I actually like film myself either talking about something or being comedic or something like that. And the thing is, I've got a bit in mind, but I have not yet kind of gotten the gumption to do it. You know, some of my viewers know what it is. But I'm just like, I'm really scared to hit that record button and do it, which is funny because I didn't have that problem with long form content. I'm like, oh, okay, it's gonna suck at first. I'll get better as I go, and I can't seem to like apply that mindset because if I had, I would have been starting to do that in 2022. Hopefully, this is the year where I break that. So
nice. Well, good, man. I hope you do, man, because it sounds like you got something cooking for everybody that's going to be awesome.
If you like Spider-Man as much as I do, I think you will. So
nice.
And I guess that little bit segues pretty nicely into my next question, which is, what goals do you have in mind for 2023?
Well, with it being the very beginning of the year, the channel's come such a long way, and 500 subscribers was definitely a major goal. And it's the thing I think I want to see happen with the channel, not only just with subscriber growth. I love seeing the actual community grow and people interacting with each other, not just with me. Because one of my favorite things too that happens on so many live streams is that, you know, I'll have what I got going on the stream. There's a whole other show happening in the chat. So what I do, and just so everybody knows out there, you know, because I don't want to ever miss a chat. And unfortunately, as you're doing this, you're gonna, because things pass by and there's a lot to pay attention to.
Gets lively, there's nothing you can do about it, you know?
Right? But what I actually do is I watch my replay, but I'm not watching me. I'm watching the chat.
Okay.
And I'm reading through and I'm catching conversations and stuff that goes on, because depending on what the topic was on the stream or maybe what game I was playing, there's somebody talking about, you know, I could be playing Resident Evil and there's a whole conversation happening between people of their memories of playing that game and what was their favorite and things like that. And I love that stuff. I love seeing the community come together. And my biggest hope for this year is to not only reach, you know, I want to double the size. I want to hit that 1,000 mark, because that's really the next big subscriber goal. But with that, I want the community to come with it and everyone to be on that ride together. That's why I love Discord. I love people interacting in there and sharing, you know, just funny things or just talking about how their day went. Or maybe a lot of people, you know, sometimes some of this stuff is an escape. Maybe somebody's having a really hard time, you know, and maybe just coming in and chatting with a few people about Spider-Man, about Star Wars, about video games, just to get their mind off of whatever is the struggle at that time. If I can be there for them for that, absolutely, that's what I hope for. That's what I want to see the community build. And then, you know, with that goes numbers. Obviously, it is a numbers game.
Right.
It's a whole thing that happens behind the scenes.
If you build one, the other will follow.
Exactly.
So,
and there's a certain side of that that's more worthwhile than the other, and that's the community. The numbers will come. That'll get there. But the people that are behind those numbers are what's most important, and why I do this. So that's my ultimate goal for 2023, is to build this community stronger and better and meet more and more people. I mean, you know, very recent, member of the community, and he's running his channel now and doing some awesome live streams, chatting about Marvel and DC and Star Wars and everything, is chilling in the basement. And I met him just recently, and I just, it was a good vibe and everything, and now he's here, on this stream, and I jump over to his stream, so it's such a cool experience. But how about you, man? What do you got? What are you thinking? What's your ultimate goal for 2023?
Couple goals. I'm always trying to grow my community, and it's always nice to see your subscriber numbers go up. What's even nicer is when you get that subscriber who not only has that person increased that number, but this is the person that you can tell, like, they've been like, oh, I'm not just gonna throw this guy a sub. I'm gonna go find the Discord, because sometimes my timers on chat don't put it out, and then they'll show up and they'll start joining the conversations and everything, and it's like those are the ones, those are your community, those are the big. And so I want to continue doing that. I want to break my I want to break my hesitation over really trying to do YouTube Shorts. I don't just want to film trouble, because let's be fair, she's way more videogenic than I am. Okay. But I want to get on the short form camera and start doing some skits and stuff, and so that's another goal. And really, aside from that, just trying to keep educating myself about how YouTube works, ways that I can maximize like my ability to kind of be efficient with putting out not just videos and streams, but other content. I mean, the supplementary content, things like thumbnails, Twitter posts, stuff like that. Maybe even Instagram. I don't know. So, but
everybody, there's a lot going on behind the scenes.
It's all about that time management, So, but I guess overall the goal is to stay busy and just try to grow, try to push past that comfort zone, kind of like you mentioned earlier, and that's just kind of the big one. And hopefully all the other things like hitting 1,000 subscribers, all that stuff will just hopefully follow.
Absolutely.
If I try to make like 1,000 subscribers a goal, I don't think I would hit it, or certainly wouldn't hit it in time. You gotta set goals that you're in control of, and then hopefully everything else follows.
Exactly. Yeah, that's if you chase the numbers, you can get discouraged. And I have. It's you almost can't help but fall into that trap every once in a while.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure every YouTuber goes through that at some point.
Yeah, I've had my share of struggles. Speaking of donations, oh my goodness.
What?
Steve Sarankin, thank you so much, my friend. Bear with me just a second because it won't pop up on Streamlabs, but so here's a trick. Here's a streamer trick. So I normally use Streamlabs, right? So that's where I have all of my alerts and I have things come up on there. So when I'm on StreamYard, I open Streamlabs in the background so that I can catch these alerts. And the cool thing is that I can bring it back up for myself so I can at least see what he wrote. At least $10. Thank you so much. It says, for your retro gaming budget. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you, Steve.
Very nice. Very nice.
Greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. Oh man, see that. Look at that, man. Now I can't help but smile bigger, man.
Thank you, Thwip, on Matcave's behalf. There you go. So.
I appreciate.
No, that's great. And again, those are the moments. These are the moments. This is like, wow. Like, I'm so happy that you guys like me that much.
Right? It's so funny because there's so many people you meet on things like this where 9 times out of 10, the case is that you've never actually met face to face. Like, I've never shook your hand.
That's true.
Which honestly, just being the age I am, and I grew up through the 80s and 90s and everything, not being able to shake another man's hand to say hello, it bothers me because I'm like, hey, how you doing? I'm like, it's like, how does this not happen?
Nice to meet you, SpideyLibrarian.
Right?
I'm the Matcave. How you
But it's so funny that you really do, you build real life friendships on this, and some people I don't think realize that. Like, some people may look at it like, oh, it's all fake. I don't know how else to describe it. Like, some people may view it as just kind of like it's just watching TV or whatever, but it's like there's people behind all of this, and there's so many people that I've met through doing this that I consider amazing friends. And you're one of them. You're one of them. I'm so happy that I met you on here. And, it's just like, all it took was Metroid to bring us.
Hey, man, Metroid brings people together,
But it's, it's such a crazy roller coaster ride doing this, because you get those downs every once in a while, and you can get discouraged. Because when you're making content, whether it's making a video about a story from Marvel, or maybe I'm trying to bring up a story from a game and talk about the lore, you have to be in the mood to do that.
You do,
right? Because if you're not, I've done videos where I wasn't fully in it, and guess what? Those videos tank, because that comes through. If you're not in it, if you're not fully invested, it does come through. And the crazy thing is, like, while we're doing all this, we have a whole life that's going on around this. I wish I could just do this all the time. If I could call this a career, that would be phenomenal. That's a dream. That's a huge, gigantic dream.
Yeah.
But I go to work every day. I got my kids. I got my wife. We're just, got to keep the house together and do all this stuff. And so sometimes it comes with, there's sacrifices. There's also compromise. So, I do my Wednesday night stream, and that's because I work that out with my family, with my wife. It's like, that's the night I'm going to do this. It's like,
Wednesday and that just happens to be date night for me and my fiance.
Right. There you go. See, everybody's got something going on.
Yeah, I know. It's like it plays, it plays into things like scheduling stuff like this, but fortunately you and I were able to connect up and get together, and we make these things work as best we can. So
absolutely. Low spec Linux laptop. What's up, dude? That's a great idea. I haven't played Red Alert in years. Have you ever played Red Alert?
No. What is it?
It's one of the strategy military games. So basically, like, in the vein of things like StarCraft and
okay.
The
is it like a real-time strategy?
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't played one of those in so long. I actually had a Star Wars one that came out around the prequels, and it had clone troopers, and it had Padme, and it had like a whole bunch of stuff in there.
I think I might have played those, or at least one of them. I was no good at them. I was terrible at them, but I think I know what you're talking about. So
yeah, I was never very good at them, because you have to keep track of so much in those games. There's certain like game genres that I was never too big into, but I'm like starting to try them out now, where I have, I guess you could say, I have more patience for it. Which is why it took me 40 years to, well, not 40 years, but it took me all this time to finally get into Final Fantasy games, because I was never big into the turn-based RPGs.
Okay.
But now I have patience. Yeah, I didn't have patience as a kid. I was a kid. I was just, so I wanted to run and gun or beat something up or play Ninja Turtles or whatever. Like it
Oh
was
yeah, Contra for the win. Whenever you say run and gun, I think Contra just automatically, So are you planning on making any like kind of like investments into your channel this year? And I guess what I mean by that is like, are you thinking of, I don't know, upgrading your hardware or subscribing, taking like a year subscription to, I don't know, something like StreamYard, I guess, or Canva or vidIQ or something like that, like.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So it's interesting you mentioned that because at the start of the year, I actually just before the new year, I started doing a couple of upgrades, working on the system. I actually just yesterday finally replaced. I now have 2 4K monitors here.
Oh, okay.
Both 32-inch, and before I had my 4K one that had as the one straight on for me, and that it had literally a 32-inch TV.
Okay.
That could only go up to 1080. So I'm battling multiple resolutions and all kinds of stuff. These are the types of struggles you come in with
Right.
gaming or something
Right.
like that. It's that you're dealing with the aspects of it, of what's the resolution, all this stuff.
Right.
I finally removed that TV and put a close enough matching monitor, so now I don't have to deal with that. But along with that, I was also kind of cleaning up my PC, upgrade a little bit of the hardware, added a little more RAM, because I wanted to get into some more PC games as well, but I want to be able to function with it smoothly. Right. And one of the biggest benefits from what I've done so far is that, and people will notice on my latest videos, the latest streams and the latest ones, this one outside of that, because StreamYard only goes to 1080p. That's just based off of StreamYard. But my gaming streams are now going to be at minimum at 1440p, and I'm going to be trying to push them into full 4K.
Dang.
Okay. The quality is going up, which I love, because being able to share a game and have me on the screen there down in the corner and all. Actually, one of the investments I did this past year was the green screen that I have up behind me at the moment, which ended up not being as expensive as I thought it was going to be.
See, I just thought that was a really cool background.
Right.
Which it is.
That's my wall.
yeah, like that's your wall. That's really nice. How much did you pay to get that done?
I wrote that down. It's all my movies.
Love it.
But that was something I was like, you know what? I want to, because doing things like this, there are some investments that come along with it, and you got to make a choice of, where do I want to put money into this?
Yeah.
Because if you want to have certain things at a certain level, sometimes you got to spend some money for it. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that people who want to start up a YouTube channel have to go start dishing out money and do all this stuff.
No.
You can be very successful and have tons of fun on YouTube, literally using your cell phone. Like, that's how crazy it is.
Yeah. There are content creators who do everything on their phone. Recording, editing, making thumbnails, promotion, everything. They do it on their phone. And that still blows my mind.
Yeah.
I work at a public library, and one of the things I do at the public library is I do programs that revolve around YouTube basics for content creators. And so it's a very basic, like, this is how you start a YouTube channel. This is what you need to think about. This is how you record a video. This is how you edit a video. It's very bare bones. If you're running a channel, you already know everything I'm going to talk about. But I have had people come to those programs and they're doing everything on their phone. And I do everything on my PC for the most part. That's just kind of where I am. I have recorded on my phone. I have edited on my phone. I have even put everything together on my phone, but that's not where my default is. And there are lots of people out there where that is their default. And those people fascinate me because I can't make myself do that. I grew up with PCs, and I'm just like, this is where the power is. This is where this is where my place of power is. I need to work from there.
Yeah.
So
No, I agree. I can't wrap my mind around doing it completely on a mobile device. Like, there's certain things I'll do from there. Like, one of the things I'll do in tandem with the PC when it comes to making thumbnails is I was introduced to a free program. Hawks Holocrons pointed me in that direction. An app called Fonto, and it allows you to, create thumbnails and put in elements and change the picture and put different text fonts and all kinds of stuff. And I'll basically work up a template in there, but then send it to myself on Discord to then continue working on it on the PC.
Yes.
Before I post it. So there's a little bit of the mobile device that comes into play, which is very powerful. These phones are incredibly powerful.
They can do everything.
Yeah.
They really can.
Mm-hmm.
Technology is wonderful.
Oh, it really is, dude.
When it works.
We grew up in a very special time because a lot of younger generation don't have a full appreciation for this. But, guys like you and I, we grew up and watched this stuff come out. Yeah. Like, from the bare bones before anything existed. Like, we were on that cusp of technology changing, and when it did, a switch flipped and it ramped up quickly. Because you think about just every couple of years there was some sort of major advancement, and it just blew my mind. And I can't imagine having not lived through that.
Right.
Like, I look at my kids now, and an iPad, a phone, these things are just normal to them.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's still days where I'll hand it to them. It's like, how do I do this?
Solid Snake says that he misses his flip.
Oh, I had the Nextel, the one with the little walkie-talkie thing built in.
I don't even remember what my flip phone was, but I know I had them. So
yeah.
No, I mean, I remember when I was probably, I don't know, I was a young teenager at the time when home computing was really just, not even taking off. It was just getting started. And there were things like CompuServe and AOL Online, just all those things. And now it is just ubiquitous. It's everywhere, and it's amazing. So, I'm thinking of making like a couple of different investments in my channel this year. One that I've kind of made already. I don't know if I'm going to stick with it. I've got the free trial period going for Canva Pro. Nice. And I mostly use Canva for like my thumbnails and maybe if I want to make a new banner or something, something like that. But it's a nice little tool. I think it comes out to about $120 if you go for the whole year.
Okay.
So $10 a month. Yeah. Have you been on any of my streams this year, like since the new year started?
I know you were doing something with Canva the other night, weren't you?
Yeah, I used Canva to create a very simple stinger transition.
Okay.
And so I've got that. And the thing is, I wouldn't have been able to make the stinger transition do exactly what I wanted it to unless I'd used some of the features that were under the Pro package. And basically, it was just as simple as making something slide a specific direction.
Yeah.
If I wanted it to go this way instead of this way, then I needed to enable the Pro thing. And I mean, to be honest, there are other benefits. I've got access to like some assets and stuff like that. So I might stick with it. I might not. I've also considered using or like investing in vidIQ, like a vidIQ membership, and just kind of really trying to take advantage of their thumbnail A/B testing, their They're kind of like their ideas bot, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's a consideration. I do like the free version of vidIQ, and there are times when I wish I could do more with it.
Yeah, I use that free one as well, and I did upgrade for a little while.
And what did you think?
I was really liking having those additional features. You know what it does is it makes it's a lot of data that you can find and work with through YouTube Studio as is, but it's not as user friendly.
Yeah.
The vidIQ, what it basically does is it creates a user friendly interface for you to work with these things, but it also then explains what you're looking at.
It packages things nicely for you. Yeah,
exactly.
No, I could totally see that. I mean, I've got the vidIQ extension up on my browser, and the nice thing about it is that I can see at a very quick glance how many watch hours I've got over the last 12 months, how many people have viewed my channel in the last 60 minutes, 48 hours in a week, and I mean, it's like, that's very nice information to just be able to kind of look at a glance. It tells you kind of how you're doing, and that's a nice thing to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
what's up, Stephen? And he's right. Studio's limited, and it's basic on edited tools, just like the platform. So there's limitations. There
are limitations, but it is free.
Yeah.
But it is free.
It is free. Yeah, that's one of the key things, is to get you into some of this stuff using the free form of whatever. The whole idea is so you get an understanding of what it is and whether or not it's actually right for you and what you want to use it for.
Yes.
So I ended up downgrading from the vidIQ, mostly because costs get expensive with a lot of these things.
They do.
When you have a lot of things adding up, you have to start to figure out where you're going to, put that investment into. And it's like, I have a lot of people have talked to me about things like Canva and different editing softwares. I've actually been using for years, even before I did YouTube. I've used Pinnacle Studio for years. I've used so many of their editions. I think I'm on 25 right now.
Okay.
And it's there are limitations even with that. It's definitely has its pros and cons, mostly pros, but I'm very used to it. And that's a thing too, when it comes to editing software and making this long form content, you want to be very comfortable with your editing software.
Yeah.
Because editing is time consuming to begin with.
Yes.
Right? And if you're having to now figure out how to do what just popped in your head, it's like, all right, this is going to be a nightmare.
Well, and the funny thing is, like, because again, if you're going to start off being a YouTuber, you have got to get it into your head that you're going to be editing for a while.
Yeah.
Until you're big enough to pay someone else to do it, so you don't have to think about it. But like, to me, when inspiration for a video hits, and again, I'm gonna just talk about my latest YouTube short. The reason that I was so excited to do that short is because Doc Ock is probably my favorite Spider-Man villain. Like, I honestly believe he's the best Spider-Man villain. Come at me, Green Goblin and Venom fans. Let's do that. I will totally take you down. But the thing is, like, I was just so excited when I read that story, because again, it just, like, it kidney punched me, like, emotionally. And I was just like, wow, like, I could see this story. I could see Sam Raimi reading this comic and then going, and then, like, that's where we might have gotten the Alfred Molina version of Doc Ock, because that version of Doc Ock is very different from the comic books Doc Ock. Like, there's a lot that he has in common with him, but Sam Raimi's Doc Ock is essentially a good man. The comics Doc Ock is essentially not. And so, like, when I read a story where I'm like, I could see that this was the seed that this other, now very popular iteration of Doc Ock came out. And so when I saw that, I got excited. And then that excitement because that's a short that I totally did in DaVinci Resolve. I didn't, I got on Audacity, I recorded a voiceover, and then I went and found a bunch of images and everything. And the thing is, it was nothing, because however much work you're putting into editing, and you do put a lot of work into editing, if you are passionate enough and excited enough about a thing, it's like it's not going to be a problem. You'll learn the tricks you need to learn as you do it. And of course, like with anything, the more you do it, the better you get. So,
Yeah, when you get passionate about a project like that, those are the ones you look forward to, right? Yeah. When you have that idea in mind, the best part of it is like not just having the idea, but having the idea of how you're going to accomplish it. Like if you already have it built and you're like, all right, I'm going to do this and I'm going to bring this in this way. And it's like, it just all comes, when these videos come together, it's so satisfying. I mean, I made just an absolutely silly one. I wouldn't call it on a dare or a bet or anything, but it was more or less at the request of Star Wars Obsession, because he brought a fan theory to my attention about Super Mario.
Oh, really?
Theory was that Mario is stealing the souls of the Mushroom Kingdom citizens.
I've heard this one. Yes.
So,
no, go on.
He starts talking to me about, how you got to do a video on it, and we got to make something like really entertaining. So I was like, I have an idea, and I put together a video. It's out there. I have 2 parts to it out currently, but I made a silly video. My whole idea was I'm not gonna film me moving. I'm gonna do it in a way of where I take stills of me and put it into like backgrounds and have it animated.
Okay.
And I put that together and put out a video, and it does okay. Like, it's just a silly video, but I was passionate about it. I had fun with it. And the best thing was that when we were talking about it, I was like, I have an idea and I know how I'm going to accomplish it. And when you already know how you're going to accomplish one of these videos, the stress part of it practically fades away. Yeah. That it's like, that feeling when you have a headache and the headache goes away, that moment when you feel a headache vanish.
Yes.
That's the closest thing I can compare it to. It's just kind of like, there we go.
No, I get it. I get where you're coming from. And yeah, no, it makes all the sense in the world. It's just when you're inspired, that can sometimes trump everything, even if you're going through a rut, so let's see, do you have any suggestions for growth, basically? Any habits or tips or things that have just kind of worked for you during your YouTube journey?
One of the biggest things that I would say, and this is because I've taken this same feedback from other creators that basically help people grow, consistency is a very key thing. But consistency comes in many different forms. So one of the things that I didn't do for the longest time was have a consistent description on my videos, something that's always there in the description, and then I put my additional whatever about whatever that video is.
Right. Yeah.
But there's certain pillars you might want to have represented in every video, and those things can help grow, whether it's a pinned video to say like, here's the next one that you might like, or maybe it's a link to your Discord, like, hey, if you like hanging out in the community, come over to Discord, here's the link. Like, certain things that stay consistent so that no matter who comes to your channel, they're having the same experience that someone that's been there for the longest time is as well, and it's easy for people to get the things. That was one of the biggest changes I made over the past couple of years, was to make sure I had some sort of consistency like that.
Right.
And you know, when people talk about being consistent on YouTube, the first thought is, you know, putting out videos on a regular basis, doing things like that, where I have dove into that when I carved out my Wednesday nights to do those streams. And then any other streams I do are additional on top of that. It may be a surprise stream. It may be whatever. I got the box from Video Games Monthly, so now we're going to do an unboxing, you know,
Right.
things like that. But I like having something for people to look forward to. And I like that because I like that for the channels I watch.
Yes.
Like when I know it's like, oh, you know what, it's whatever night, I'm gonna watch such and such. Because to be honest, I don't watch TV much. I watch YouTube. I watch, you know, it's like
it can be entertaining,
right?
You know.
I watch YouTube more than I watch TV. You know, I'll still sit down and watch movies and stuff like that and everything, but it's not like back in the day where it's like, I'm going to sit down on the couch and I'm going to flip through channels on the TV.
Right.
I'm sitting on the couch and I'm flipping through YouTube channels and, you know, watching creators that I know and then other people that I'm discovering. Maybe it's like, hey, you know what? I'm in the mood to, you know, watch something about Legend of Zelda, and I'll just throw something into the search and just see what comes up.
So impromptu question then, what kind of stuff would you say is your default when you're watching things on YouTube? Like what keeps you entertained when you're not entertaining us?
I'll tell you, one of the things that I always end up watching when it's just kind of downtime and it's just maybe even just laying in bed and it's before I'm falling asleep, I love watching teardowns and repairs of equipment.
Okay.
Whether it's like, hey, we're gonna mod this Nintendo and put an HDMI port in it or something like that, or just, and I think what it is that it fascinates me so much because I don't have that skill, but I love watching someone with that skill, and it's, you know, makes these things work.
No.
But like even like streams that you've done, where you were doing the artwork with the character artwork with those,
the perler bead stuff,
the beads.
Yes,
dude, stuff like that like just fascinates me. It's just because there's a method to it and it's just like so meticulous and everything. I'm like, man, I don't know, those are my guilty pleasures. It's like watching somebody else build something. It's like I just want to see this be created. But then you know, outside of that, you know, I'm watching like even you know, Fat Steven, who's in the chat here, you know, he does community streams and, you know, plays like Fortnite and stuff like that. And I'll, you know, it might be during the day while I'm working, I'll have his stream running on the side and I'm, you know, cracking up because he's telling jokes and stuff and, you know, saying some hilarious stuff, and then some craziness happens in the game, and, you know, it's very entertaining that way. But there's so much variety.
That makes sense. When I suppose when I'm not watching or when I'm not on YouTube or, you know, editing or recording or something, for my part, it's kind of just a range of entertainment content. I will occasionally watch, like, I like watching videos about ghost sightings.
There you go. Yeah.
I like that scary stuff. I loved when creepypastas were big a few years ago, you know. But I also watch like one game that I'm playing even occasionally on stream now is Stardew Valley, and I love watching videos about like people who have they've got strategies for Stardew Valley for, like, you know, taking your farm to the highest level and stuff. And then I'll just occasionally see videos of people who have just built these like intricate, huge farms that can crank out, like, you know, a bunch of diamonds every 3 days, or they've got slime hutches and everything, you know. And I don't know, like, I just think stuff like that is fascinating. Other than that, it's probably just YouTube growth content. I watch a lot of like Roberto Blake, Nick Nimmin, vidIQ, Think Media, Probably a lot of the same usual suspects that you or people in yours or my position are trying to learn from so that they can grow,
And that's the amazing thing too about this platform, is that there is content like that where we can learn from people that are professionals with these things, and they know what they're talking about. And I'll have that stuff is on all the time during the day. I'll literally take notes, like I'm talking like pen and paper and just writing stuff down and try to implement it if I can, if it's something that I'm capable of doing. And most of the time it is, because they keep things simplified. They explain exactly what's going on with it. But then at the same time, there's so much to learn from so many other content creators that aren't there trying to teach you, but it's like you'll pick up things that someone's doing. Maybe they're playing a game that you also play, and they go about it slightly different or whatever it may be. And it's like, you know what? I wonder if I can like implement that somehow, we're always gonna, as content creators, you're always gonna end up mimicking something from somebody,
right?
Because we're just all there in the same space. We're all in view of everyone else, and it's not that anyone's trying to copy anyone. It's just you find a mix of things that are going to work. I'm certainly not doing anything original, really. Like, it's just all I do is I just be me.
Yeah.
And I come hang out, and I'm like, hey, you know what? We're going to play some Resident Evil tonight. Let's play the second one just because it's my favorite. And, it's like,
And I mean, that's like your superpower, is that there is not another you. Be as you can be, and you will be unique, So
yes. And I do actually, this is true. I'm going to bring this up on screen. I do owe Steven Secret of Mana. We got to get this going. I got to carve out time and make this work. We came up with an idea of doing this, and then I just haven't been able to be there to have the time to do it, but we 100% will, because this was a really cool Super Nintendo game back in the day, very similar to Final Fantasy, type of RPG, but there's ways to play it multiplayer, and we think we figured out a way to do that on a stream, so we're going to try to get that going.
Nice.
And then also, yes, he did. We do need to celebrate this as well. He did get his PS5, and he's finally getting to play Returnal, which is awesome. I didn't play the whole thing of Returnal, but it's a really cool game, so I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I've enjoyed my PS5 when I finally got it. I got Marvel Midnight Suns for the PS5, and
nice.
Oh man, have you played that yet? I know you got it.
I played a little bit. We got it for my son. We got him a PS5 for Christmas. And that was the game we got for him.
Okay.
It was Midnight Suns, and he's playing through, because he's a kid, so he's got time. He can go dive into that world as much as he wants to. I've only like scratched the surface so far.
Yeah. I've had a lot of people in my circle say that they won't play it because it's a card game, and I'm like, you are missing out on so much, because it is only barely a card game, and it's really a tactical RPG. Like that's how the combat system works, and the combat system isn't even the main part of the game. In my opinion, it's the downtime and the socialization and making friends with all the superheroes, because that gives you bonuses, and
it reminds me of the old BioWare games, like things,
a little bit,
even like Knights of the Old Republic. That's what there was a lot of that game was talking with the characters, and you're building relationships, and it's just, oh man, it's such fun stuff, and that's I think my favorite thing about gaming overall, is that there's literally a game genre for everyone. And whether it's a mobile game or an RPG or just a first-person shooter, I mean, things that I didn't think I would get back into, and now I did, is like, stuff like Call of Duty. Like, I've been playing Warzone 2.0 and doing that DMZ mode and everything. And I was like, I never thought I'd get back into a Call of Duty game, but here I am.
I mean, you know, it's just weird. Life brings us back around sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
let me think. I think I'm more or less done with the kind of formal questions. I got one kind of final. I'm not going to say it's informal. It's just not one that I had written down. But what kind of projects are you working on in the short term that you can kind of tease people that you're doing?
Ooh, well, I was actually working on it earlier tonight.
No.
I've done in the past. I turned the God of War games into movies. I'm now turning Resident Evil into a movie, and I'm gonna call it The Fall of Raccoon City.
Uh-huh.
And I'm utilizing the remakes of Resident Evil 2 and 3, but I'm putting it together in the actual chronological layout of the story, because there's a certain way to play those games if you want to actually play it in chronological order of the events that occur. So I'm going to make it a movie, and I'm hoping to make it work really well, because as many Resident Evil fans know, we've been let down many times in the attempts for actual Resident Evil movies.
Oh God.
Welcome to Raccoon City was a dumpster fire, and that's me being nice. But what I will say about that movie is they had the look. It looked like Resident Evil.
Okay.
They just didn't know what to do with the story or anything. So I'm like, well, what if I just take the actual game and edit and make it work? You know, mix a gameplay and stuff like that to make it make sense. But I'm playing through this game. I've never done this before, and I'm from day one Resident Evil lifelong fan and player.
Nice.
In these games, I have never turned the HUD off. So I have no HUD, no aim reticle. I'm making it as cinematic as I can possibly make it. And let me tell you, trying to land a headshot on these zombies with no target.
that sounds like like a pants staining challenge too. Because I don't play the Resident Evil games. I've never played them, but like I've watched you play them. And yeah, no, I'm good with not dealing with that kind of, and taking away the aiming reticle. No, that's not the kind of life that I want to live. You know.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm going to say it's added a new level of terror to the game.
Yeah,
to be honest.
Yeah, no, I'll bet it has.
So, yeah.
Well, I wish you the best of luck with that.
Thank you.
I'm sure it will be very rewarding when you accomplish this, and you know you've got a full movie, and you know you've done it without all of the bells and whistles that the game gives you. So you know, but that's really cool.
Yeah, it should be fun.
I myself, I'm going to continue working on more of the YouTube shorts that like the Doc Ock one that I just did.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like they don't have, I just call them Spidey TLDR. You know, and that's why it's really short and everything. And then I'm trying to get at least one video essay done per month. I'm working on one right now. And I'll say here, it's about Doc Ock. That's why I was reading that comic. I was like, I can make a short out of this, you know, and so, you know, but yeah, I'm trying to work in doing video essays, and that way, I have 3 scheduled streams on the weekends.
Nice.
And that's pretty much like the regular content that I'm going to continue doing. And then like, I'll throw in a bunch of extra streams on the weekend for other games or something. But you know, for uploaded stuff, it's going to usually be like trailer reactions or YouTube shorts, or if I'm lucky and I've been recording everything while I've been streaming, then it might be like a rank up video for one of my champions in Marvel Contest of Champions or something like that.
Nice.
But as much as I love MCOC, and I'm sure that probably most of the people that have come to my channel have come there through that game, trying to diversify a little bit. I'm playing, like, I just got Spider-Man for the PC, the remastered version.
Oh, there you go.
Started using the mods. Oh, I love the spectacular Spider-Man skin.
Oh, man.
It looks so good. But I've also found a superior Spider-Man skin. I found a Stan Lee skin, which is nice, but it also looks like nightmare fuel at certain cutscenes of the game.
I can imagine.
There's a big rendering issue where his teeth are like up where his nose is, and he doesn't have any eyes, and it's just like, wow, you're demonic.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, no, I totally want to do that. And Solid Snake asking, are we getting a trailer reaction for Ant-Man? I just saw before we started this live stream that was up. And so yeah, no, we'll do something like that. Maybe I don't know, maybe I'll do an impromptu stream. Tomorrow's Tuesday. I could probably do an impromptu stream tomorrow where I do a reaction to it during the stream. So
nice.
Like, I'll be playing some Spider-Man or some Stardew Valley, and then be like, okay, and now that you're all here, we're going to do the reaction. And it's funny because I don't advertise the reactions on the stream title or the metadata or anything. Those are basically for my community who join me regularly. And I mean, if someone wants to watch my streams to find them, they can do that, but they're going to have to look for them. What people in general will get is I will take that footage and then I'll edit it into a proper YouTube trailer reaction video. And then that's what they see. And I tell them during the end of the video, or I think I've started sneaking it in without talking about it. Like I just put in text that, like, you can find these unedited on stream, but you have to go looking for them. So,
Yeah. Well, I've been on a couple of your streams like that too, where you're prepping everything. You're doing that. You're literally setting up and recording the reaction or recording whatever it's going to be for your upcoming video. And that I got it. And I've said this to you before. It's one of my favorite things you've done with your channel because I've never seen anyone else do that.
Oh, really?
That, like, it feels like being there in the audience. I feel like I'm watching a behind the scenes featurette live.
And that's exactly what I'm going for.
Right. So I'm getting this like bonus feature from,
and you're getting it live. And then there's going to be the polished product at the end, which you can, because people who have seen me live and then watch the polished product, they catch on and see like what things I have decided to leave out in my reactions, and stuff like that. So it's definitely a thing that I think, that I think it's like a perk. It's a perk that you only are getting if you are just kind of like you're just part of my community. You like me and you come and visit me, and then you catch these things, And then there's plenty of encounters with my cat Trouble, who I think
this is true.
I don't think she's in frame. No, she's not. She is curled up on some blankets. And she's a little kitty biscuit, and she looks adorable. So.
Oh, absolutely. Well, if anybody out there that's in the chat now, if you have not yet subscribed to SpideyLibrarian, please go and do so.
Yes.
Check out him. He's got all the stuff on Discord as well. And then if you take a look at the homepage of my channel, go all the way down to the bottom, and there are channels that I recommend, and SpideyLibrarian is down there, and all the links are.
And thank you so much for that.
No problem.
I'm pretty sure I've gotten at least a few subscribers through your recommendations. So,
Oh man, but it's such a wild ride doing all of this, and I love being able to do something like this where we can just kind of touch base, meeting of the minds, share some thoughts, get some ideas, and just kind of see what different and new directions we can take our channels in, because you can literally do anything you want with these things. It really is whatever makes you happy, and that's the key as well. It has to make you happy. If you're, as the creator, if you're not happy with it, then your audience certainly won't be either.
Yeah, no. Be into it, otherwise don't expect other people to be into it. You know?
But it's this is a ton of fun, man. And actually, we're already getting requests here in the chat a couple of times of people looking for a weekly podcast going on here.
I mean, when you said, because you know, I don't know many, I don't know how many of you are here now that were here at the beginning of the podcast. That's just what I'm going to call this now. But like, I had approached Matcave about this, and I'm like, you know, I had envisioned it as just him and I doing a little private video chat on Discord, like just kind of like a support group, kind of, you know. And then he mentioned shortly before we decided to just put it up here, it's like, well, you know, I mean, we could probably do this live. And I was like, you know, that's a good idea. I hadn't thought of that. And so he's hosting it because he's got the fancy StreamYard setup. But I mean, if people are into these kinds of conversational pieces, I mean, like, I'm certainly enjoying this. So if this is a thing that we want to make into a regular thing, you know, I'm thinking we could probably like co-host it on our channels. I don't know.
That's the thing. Like, this is something we could like bounce back and forth. You know, it's you know, and we could easily get you set up for posting this, no problem. But yeah, we'll, you know, obviously we'll keep touching base in Discord and stuff like that. We'll make something work out, because clearly people are enjoying this, which I'm thrilled. This is awesome.
This is great.
Consistently had so many people in chat tonight, and I appreciate every single one of you guys being here tonight and, you know, hanging out with us. And, you know, like, we're just,
you guys are awesome. And I know those of you who are regulars on my channel know that I say that all the time, but I'm never going to stop saying it.
Absolutely, dude. Well, we have crossed the hour-and-a-half point, and it flew by, dude.
Yeah.
We covered a lot of stuff just talking about, you know, there's a lot you can go into when it comes to talking about being on YouTube and things you can do with the platform, and literally, like, we've really just kind of scratched the surface with this. But I'm thinking we on the back end we come up with some topic ideas, and maybe we give the people what they want.
I mean, guys, I think Alan Copeland is asking for a poll. I mean, I'm thinking that it's going to be just yes, but
well, let me just throw it out to the chat. I don't have a way of in StreamYard to do. I guess I could do it on the other thing, but I got to pull that up the other way. I'll tell you what, guys. If you guys want this more of a regular basis type deal, I don't know if it'll be weekly, but we'll work something out. But if you want more of a regular basis like this, let's throw some ones in the chat. That one's always a solid number, right?
And here they come.
And the ones are already showing up.
Got a one from Ted's Nerd World and one from Alan Copeland. So solid.
What's up, Ted?
Toasted. Yeah. MRX, Steve Staranka.
Yeah.
Everyone seems down for it. That's at least 6. That's at least half the people that are viewing. So I call that a win. So.
That's definitely a win right there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, behind the scenes, everybody, SpideyLibrarian and myself will be working out the logistics, and we'll figure out where we're going to be. It's something that I want to make sure that I don't want to hog all the views. So we're definitely going to be heading over to SpideyLibrarian's neck of the woods.
We'll figure out a way to make this work, because the way I see it, I mean, I had one iteration of this idea in mind, and then you had the very brilliant idea, let's take it live. And I'm like, Okay, so the way I see it, this is a fairly solid start for a partnership here. So
Yeah, man, I agree.
and I mean, like, again, like it's just funny because YouTube, serendipitous, you just happened to find me one night because I was playing Super Metroid. And I remember you popping in and being like, "Oh my God, I haven't seen this in forever." And and I mean, like, he was there when I played it again, when I beat it, which was just a harrowing experience for me. Like, watch that stream, I'm freaking out the entire time during that final boss fight. And I mean, like, now we're talking about doing a video podcast together. So,
Crazy.
yes, but I love it.
Oh, man. Well, dude,
all right.
I appreciate you, man, and this is awesome. I look forward to the next one. And like we said before, if you have not yet, please get over to SpideyLibrarian's channel, sub,
Thank you.
check out the content, drop some likes, comment on the videos, get involved with the conversation, jump in those community tabs. That's where all the fun is, man. That's how it's done. Be part of the community.
And if you join my Discord, one of my mods, Double P, posts memes like every day to the meme channel. So
there you go.
you will be rewarded.
Nice. I love it. I love it. All right, everybody. Well, this was fun, and I appreciate everybody joining us down in the Matcave as we talk YouTube. And it seems like we're going to be talking YouTube again in the very near future. But as always, everybody, remember, keep retro gaming alive, because one day your games will be retro too. And I will catch everybody over on SpideyLibrarian's channel real soon.
And if I may, this is SpideyLibrarian. And until my next stream or upload, I'll be wishing all of you a good rest of the evening.
Bye, everybody.